This program on TV2 contains material that may disturb some people. We advise discretion.
Some say you haven't lived until you've nearly died, and that surely is the thrill of parachuting. But what if you drop out and then discover that you're still tied to the plane, dangling a kilometre off the ground? Kia ora, I'm Philip Alpers, and welcome to Heroes, true stories of genuine Kiwi bravery. Tonight, a panicked parachutist's mid-air rescue to make your toes curl, and passers-by try to save an innocent woman caught in the carnage caused by a drunk driver. I can vouch for it, parachuting is great fun. But when a jumper gets tangled up in his static line, hanging from a tiny plane, everybody's lives depend on the intensive training and the quick reactions of two people, our heroes. Once again, actors recreate this true story. March 1972, late on a Sunday afternoon. New Zealand's most active aerodrome, Ardmore, was buzzing. The weather was just right, and for members of the Auckland Parachute Club, it had been a great day for jumping. On the ground, new students were learning the basics. To avoid getting tangled leaving the plane, there's a strict drill every novice must memorise.
To the door, put your right foot firmly on the step. Remember, there's a lot of wind out there. Both hands on the wing strut, foot on the wheel, looking back at your jump master, head up and on the go, big hard arch, looking at the jump master.
As that class went off home, they'd be taking the plunge next Sunday, part-time jump pilot Alex Waring was making his final landing for the evening. Alex was training to be an airline pilot, and he was clocking up all the hours he could for his commercial licence by dropping off novice parachutists.
Yes, I'd been flying the airplane up and down all day and doing sort of several trips, and student parachutists normally jump from about 2,000 feet to 2.5, and what we term a sort of hop and pop, and they're on the static line, so they have to actually deploy their own parachute.
Your static line gets connected onto the plane.
For a split second after they jump, new students are still attached to the plane. This static line has a braking strain of 2,000 kilos, but its sole function should be to flip the parachute out of the backpack after the students dropped safely clear of the aircraft.
And remember, if you need to, I want you placing your right hand on top of your helmet. That indicates to the jump master that you're okay, but you need help. At no point do you open your parachute until you have cleared the plane.
Out on the field, Alex Waring and his jump master were packing it in for the day.
I'll head up the club room and fill out my hours. Oh, by the way, thanks for that last one. That was spot on, mate. That was excellent.
Thanks, it was great.
So you'll be connected.
Meanwhile, finishing his last class for the day was another jump master. Back then, Lloyd Altham was 22 years old.
When the jump master says go, you go.
I'd been parachuting, absolutely fanatically keen on parachuting. I just ate, slept and drank parachuting. I'd even take time off work to go out and jump midweek.
All right, see you guys next Sunday. Then we go up.
Lloyd had been a jump master for only 2 months. He wanted desperately to become a fully certified instructor, so now he was supervising every jump on offer.
Lloyd! We've got 2 to go up. A hop and pop. We've got half an hour left. Can you grab Alex and we'll get these guys in the air? I'll clear it with air traffic.
Okay.
That sort of thing did happen. You get a bunch of students and suddenly there's a gap, a bit of time there, last minute jump before daylight. And of course in the evening it's the best time to jump because it was so calm then, especially on the old round canopies we used to use, which were old modified US Air Force bailout rigs. They used to come down like a brick outhouse, but they were very docile and they didn't stand much wind though.
Ever jumped before?
Yeah, a couple of statics. You?
No, this is a biggie.
We're here in a flash, gentlemen. So.
So what do you reckon then? Worth it?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Oh, Alex?
Yeah?
Hey, look, Chief's got a couple of lads who want to do a drop. Can you do it?
Yeah, sure, no worries, mate. Better be quick about it though, eh?
Wonderful. Let's do it.
Moments later, the 4 men were airborne, headed south to the regular student drop zone near Clevedon. At the jump altitude, nearly 1,000 metres, Alex realised he'd left his emergency parachute at the clubhouse. He also recognised one of the 2 students in the back with Lloyd, a young man we'll call Graham.
In actual fact, I'd flown him before, and at times he wasn't too keen to sort of jump.
Graham was by no means unusual. Up here, sitting on a steel floor with the door off, fear is a healthy reaction, and Lloyd was well used to dealing with it.
Well, on the way up, you tend to chat to the students. Nothing relevant, just purely to relax them.
These static line training jumps are low altitude, quick and inexpensive. With flying time at a premium, Lloyd had the 2 students ready to jump within moments.
All right, we're approaching the drop site.
Graham was first.
You're first up. Just remember your procedure.
His every movement, step and handhold had been rehearsed time and again.
Okay, step out with your right foot.
He got outside the plane okay. There wasn't too much trouble there, and it's a golden rule, is you never force anybody out anyway. That's rule number 1. It's just once he got out there, he just wasn't going any further. He was there. He was stuck there.
Graham simply lost his nerve. He froze to that strut, slowing the plane dangerously with the drag of his body. Alex increased the engine power, hoping to blow the jumper off his perch.
If he just relaxed and let go and fallen off, wouldn't have been a problem. But he slid down the strut, but he then changed his grip and got hold of the wheel leg. At this stage too, the pilot had to reapply power because otherwise the plane drops out of the sky. Normally at that stage, if he just relaxed and let go and fallen off, wouldn't have been a problem. And then he fell away, but as he fell away, he went for a grab for the static line. I guess he figured it was, grab the last straw sort of thing.
Graham's wrist was hopelessly tangled. A kilometre off the ground, 4 men could no longer jump, land, or even fly. High over South Auckland, a routine learner's parachute drop goes badly wrong. While climbing out, the first student panics and refuses to jump. He slips, grabs a hold again, and winds up dangling, firmly tangled in his static line. 4 men are now prisoners a kilometre off the ground. There's no way they can land like this, and the pilot can hardly keep the tiny plane aloft anymore.
We've got to hang up. I know. Retrieving altitude, holding pattern. Decision fast.
Both Lloyd and Alex had already thought of the next big danger, their worst nightmare. What if Graham panicked again, pulled his ripcord, and opened the parachute strapped to his back?
You imagine suddenly getting about 500 square feet of drag behind an aircraft. Something would have gone.
There's a possibility that it would have wrapped around the tailplane and the controls would have been sort of frozen and we were crashed.
Is he signalling? No! Right arm's caught up! Damn it!
I wasn't wearing my reserve parachute, and so that made me quite nervous when this was all going on. So Lloyd sort of could have taken the easy way out. He could have jumped with a student, or remaining student, and sort of left myself to it. I would have had to return to Ardmore. In that case, he would have obviously would have been killed.
Both pilot and jump master knew they were dropping fast, running out of height for even an emergency jump. There was only one person in a position to save everybody, and that was Lloyd.
Stay there! I'm going down the line. I'll cut him from there. Can you hold it with me out there as well? Go for it. Good luck.
They were risking the plane stalling or even flipping, but there wasn't much choice.
The additional weight would create a lot of drag. I'd apply full power, and even then I started to lose a bit of height.
If he'd gone too slow, the aircraft could have dropped out of the sky. he'd gone too fast, it would have blown me off the static line. So it was a team effort, if you like, without either of us being able to communicate with each other.
As he fought to keep the plane on an even keel, Alex worried that Lloyd might fall off the static line before reaching the student.
I could have grabbed the aircraft's fire axe and cut the static line and just hoped that he was not too frightened and he'd sort of managed to pull his own reserve. But being a very sort of inexperienced student, chances are that he wouldn't have.
Really just like climbing down a rope, and once I was down to him, it was okay because I could grip his harness and get my legs around him, and so we're both then hanging underneath the plane.
By now the aircraft was well below safe jumping altitude.
Helicopter along! I'll pull you soon as you fall away! Just remember your landing procedure, I'll see you down there!
And then all of a sudden the aeroplane lurched skywards, and I realised that both parachutes was dropped off.
I was a bit stunned when I looked at my altimeter and realised just what height I was at. As a general rule, you drop a student from 3,000 feet. Now, by the time all this was over, I was under a parachute pretty close to 1,000 feet, so we'd lost 2,000 feet in height just getting all this sorted out.
Lloyd's parachute snapped open so late that he was on the ground, unstrapped and running, well before the man he'd saved landed hard, but safe.
You all right? Okay, bit of a rough landing. How's that up?
Alex landed safely with one very shaken first-time jumper still in the back, and Lloyd reckons his pilot was a hero.
Alex's role in the whole thing was very significant. If he hadn't had his wits about him, then it could have gone horribly wrong.
Well, in my book, I'd say that Lloyd is a first-rate hero.
Well, at the time, you really haven't got time for emotions. You've just got the job in hand.
Lloyd finally made it back to a club room, buzzing with the details of their scariest ever hop and pop.
Man, what a jump. There you go.
I remember going up to the bar and being pretty thirsty at the stage and asked for a beer, and they said, "Oh, this one's on us." And it was believe me, it was enjoyable.
Alex Waring's flying the larger planes now for Ansett. And 6 months after the rescue, Lloyd Altham got his wish and became a parachute instructor. Lloyd jumped out of planes another 800 times before he finally hung up his chute and waded into a more placid passion, trout fishing. After the break, the carelessness of a drunk driver leaves an innocent young woman in a burning car.
All sorts of Kiwis get caught on camera. Yes, even the All Blacks.
Man, tight shorts.
Join Leanne Clark and her special guests, the All Blacks. A grand night of hilarious moments presented by Minties.
You soon learn where the camera is welcome and where it is not.
Hey, don't forget to brush your teeth now, kids. Whoa there, brush mine.
Keep your eye on the ball.
The Great Kiwi Video Show, 7:30 Sunday on TV2.
It's on its way. It's got to be a super birthday. Oh,
Saturday is the name of the day. Ain't never gonna change. No, Saturday is the name of the day. Everybody's having a ball.
We're celebrating 9 years of Lotto with a $5 million super draw. So get your tickets now to our $5 million birthday super draw.
Happy birthday.
Buy the new Daihatsu Charade in pieces, as you can afford it. Buy this much now. We'll loan you the rest for 2 years interest-free. Let your Daihatsu dealer put the pieces together for you. New Charade. Quality at a price you can afford.
The fair is hot at Valentine's. Ham, roast beef and Yorkshire pud, vegetables to take your fill, lamb curries, seafood or pasta, desserts that taste divine. With one fixed price and such a choice, Valentine's, what a place to dine.
Hello, Michael Hill Jeweller.
During July, remember the ones you love and mark the occasion with a special gift at special gift prices. Only during July and only at Michael Hill Jeweller. Discover the difference at
Michael Hill Jeweller.
The Role Models calendar and our top sportswomen show a new attitude.
It's an attitude worth supporting.
So do whatever you have to and get your hands on a copy now.
Because it's about helping out.
Show your support and buy a copy now.
In some countries, one of the most dangerous things you can do is drink the water, or eat food that's been made or washed in water. So if you're traveling abroad, get protection from hepatitis A. Get a shot of Havrix. There's a 1 in 300 chance of contracting hepatitis A in most developing countries, even in a good hotel. The risk is 6 times greater for backpackers. Ask your doctor for details of Havrix.
Brooke Shields, Gail O'Grady, Vanessa Williams.
The prosecutor is going after murder one. He wants your life.
Sydney Sheldon's Nothing Lasts Forever concludes next on 2.
Motoring on a country road and you're on your own. You're driving safely, you're sober, but the other guy's not. Seconds later, you're trapped unconscious in a burning car. What you need, and really quickly, is a hero. This is the true story of 3 passers-by who leapt into the flames and became just that. It was late Sunday afternoon in May 1992. Monica Braun would soon make the long drive to Auckland. As usual, she'd spent her weekend in her hometown, Te Awamutu. There, Monica's boyfriend, Nigel, worked the family's sheep farm.
Better be off soon, eh? Finish this off next weekend. Don't want to leave too late, eh?
Pretty soon, the couple planned to get engaged.
Give me about Thursday?
Yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday.
You're supposed to be saving money, remember?
Prospects for work in Te Awamutu were pretty limited, so Monica had a job in Auckland. The twice-weekly 2-hour drive had never worried Monica. She maintained the car with care, and it always got her there. But nearing South Auckland, the roads were wet and slippery. Monica was being doubly careful. Also on the road that night were Tony Wheeler and his wife Tanya. From Papakura, they were heading across to a friend's place in Howick.
Early start tomorrow.
Oh, not again.
Tony and Tanya would soon reach the farms and lifestyle blocks of rural Manukau and Chapel Road. The couple didn't know it, but both they and Monica were about to meet a drunk in a Jaguar.
With heavy rain expected, so if you're out on the road, take care. News on the hour coming up, and then we'll have the winners from last week's Pick 5 competition. By now, Monica Braun, 25 years old and so very close to getting home safely for the night, had turned onto Chapel Road, heading north. Ahead of her, speeding south on the same stretch of road, was the Jaguar. Tony and Tanya weren't aware of it, but they were following Monica, just 200 metres behind. They had no idea of the trouble ahead. Behind the wheel of the Jaguar, a man whose mind was dulled with alcohol. He was all over the road. And by the time she saw that, it was too late for Monica.
I could see there was a
car stopped in the middle of the road, and my first reaction was, oh, what's this silly woman doing parked in the middle of the road? As we got closer to it, we could see there was obviously 2 cars involved. You knew there was something wrong. You had to go and find out what the story was. You couldn't just stand there and watch it.
No, Tony, look! Tony!
Call 111!
There was a strong stench of petrol.
There's been a crash on Chapel Road. Someone needs to come fast. Your one's on fire. Tony, no!
I've got to!
Tony!
What I did is probably looking back on it was a mistake, but I grabbed a bottle of water out of the back of the car and tried to put it out with that. So it probably actually made it worse, if anything.
The moment he looked, Tony could see that the driver of the Jaguar was well beyond help.
I realised that there was a lady in the Cortina, not looking in too good a shape. Yeah, she moved her head enough for me to realise that she was conscious. I couldn't open the door at all. The doors were all jammed shut.
Tony, look out, it could blow!
In the next car to arrive was Colin Willoughby. By now, Tony was frantic.
Quick, mate, the door's stuck!
I was basically starting to panic, I suppose. Because I couldn't understand why he wasn't getting out of the vehicle to come and help.
Also on Chapel Road that night was a van. Approaching the fire, by now billowing smoke, were Vincent Corey and his 15-year-old daughter, Vanessa.
What's out?
Careful, Dad!
First aid kit, love.
Vince could see fuel lines broken. There was no stopping the petrol feeding the fire. They were in, but Colin couldn't reach Monica's seatbelt release. With all the doors mangled and jammed, the men could only hope to slide Monica back and then out a window.
Come on, mate! My ball is back! Can you get her through?
There was no way we were going to try and get her out sideways through the driver's door.
Tony, get away!
Back the car up!
By now the heat was intense, but the 3 men couldn't leave Monica to burn with her legs jammed under the crushed dashboard. They all knew that this would be their last attempt.
I thought, well, if her legs are stuck, I'm going to pull her legs. Well, it was a creepy thought. But I just put my head back and just pulled her out.
Get it.
Oh my God.
Easy, love. My ankle doesn't look too good. She seems to be breathing okay, love.
Let's get into the van.
Just then, the injured woman muttered something which chilled them to the bone.
Katie!
Watch the ankle. There's somebody else in there!
I'll never forget that feeling because it was a horrible feeling. It was like the whole pit of your stomach just dropped.
Come on.
All I was trying to do was basically put my arms around her and stop her from moving anywhere.
Here, you hold on to her. I'm going to get her something to drink.
And then I grabbed her again and she sat on my knee and I just wrapped my arms around her tightly.
There was nobody else in the car, and Monica Braun was safe.
If they hadn't got me out of the car, I would have been history because I was in no fit state to help myself. Luckily, they were able to get me out of the car, which wouldn't have been easy. So, no, all thanks to them.
One of them had a cell phone. They could have rung the cops and that's it. They could have waited till the cops got there, but they thought no way. They were going to do their best to get this girl out, and for that, yeah, they're heroes.
Later, Monica was told that it was Vanessa Corey who'd comforted her. When she was better, she wasted no time calling Vanessa.
I was living in Tauranga, and they were living in Tiamutu, I think. And she came all the way over, and she had a big bouquet of flowers in her hand, and she said, "This is simply just to say thanks." And I felt stoked, you know. I was kind of shocked at first, and then I thought, you know, I feel good.
Tony Wheeler, Vince Corey and Colin Willoughby were all awarded Royal Humane Society medals for bravery.
I thought it was just a normal reaction for people to act that way, and I hope obviously that if I'm ever involved with an accident, someone does the same thing to me. I mean, it's just the way the world goes around.
No, they were very brave in getting me out, and they were definitely heroes.
But no, I don't class myself as a hero. I think it's just something that you do. It's a reaction. You don't know what's going to happen until you come across it.
By leaping in quickly, Colin, Tony and Vince all qualified as heroes that night. Without them, Monica Braun would have died. As it is, she's only now, 3 years later, nearing the end of treatment for her injuries. I'm Philip Alpers. Join me again next week for more true tales of courageous Kiwis on Heroes.
Stay with us as Brooke Shields